Clint Eastwood. The name itself evokes images of a stoic, tough-as-nails icon of American cinema. For over 60 years, he has commanded the screen and the director's chair, his weathered face and gravelly voice instantly recognizable. As an actor, his portrayals of figures like Harry Callahan and the mysterious spaghetti western anti-heroes cemented his place in movie history. As a director and producer, he has crafted critically acclaimed masterpieces, earning 4 Academy Awards and 4 Golden Globes. Even in his 90s, with new projects still emerging, his influence remains immense. Yet, alongside the accolades and the enduring image of the rugged individualist, there exists a different narrative, one whispered in the corridors of Hollywood, detailing strained relationships, behind-the-scenes tensions, and the quiet, decisive way Eastwood deals with those who cross him. Unlike the public shouting matches common in Hollywood lore, Eastwood's conflicts often unfold with a chilling lack of drama. Those who find themselves on the wrong side of his principles, who are perceived as disrespectful or simply incompatible with his rigid way of working, often experience a swift and permanent erasure from his professional world. The first name on this list is John Wayne. The American Western genre has always been a battleground for defining national identity, and perhaps no conflict better illustrates this than the enduring, though largely indirect, rivalry between John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. These two giants never shared the screen. Their approaches to the cowboy archetype so fundamentally opposed that they represented conflicting visions for the very soul of the genre. John Wayne was the embodiment of the classic Western hero, straightforward, morally upright, a symbol of American pioneering spirit and inherent goodness. His films, often sweeping epics, presented a romanticized frontier where heroes were noble figures defending civilization against clear-cut villains. His characters might bend the rules but always adhered to a strict, if sometimes rough, moral code, representing traditional values of bravery, honor, and patriotism. Clint Eastwood, arriving later with the Italian-made spaghetti westerns, shattered this idealized image. His man with no name was a figure of ambiguity, driven by self-interest and survival in a brutal, lawless landscape. These films were cynical, violent, and devoid of the clear moral lines that defined Wayne's universe. Eastwood's success with this new style fundamentally altered the genre, introducing the concept of the anti-hero and establishing his own distinctive personality type, cool, detached, and quietly dangerous, as a powerful force in cinema. Wayne saw Eastwood's success not just as a personal challenge, but as a sign that the values he represented were being dismissed or even ridiculed. His West was a place of clear moral purpose. Eastwood's was a world of ambiguity and survival. Wayne championed an idealized American past. Eastwood explored its darker, more complex truths. These deeply held, opposing philosophies made collaboration impossible. Their feud wasn't marked by public insults back and forth, but by the silent, powerful statement of never sharing the screen. It was a rivalry defined by absence, a testament to two competing visions of America's most defining genre. While both left an indelible mark on Western cinema, they did so from ideological poles, unable to find common ground. The question of, is Clint Eastwood a nice guy, is complicated by this. His artistic vision, which he steadfastly pursued, was perceived by Wayne as a profound and personal slight against the legacy he had built. The second name is Michael Moore. Clint Eastwood's list of conflicts isn't limited to fellow icons of classic cinema. His quiet, yet pointed, tension with documentary filmmaker Michael Moore showcases how his personal code extends to ideological battles over patriotism and the portrayal of military service in contemporary film. This particular feud, sparked by Moore's reaction to American Sniper, highlights Eastwood's fierce protectiveness of his work and his values when he perceives them to be disrespected, particularly in a public forum. Michael Moore is a filmmaker known for his provocative style and outspoken political views. His documentaries are often confrontational and designed to spark debate, a direct contrast to Eastwood's typically understated public persona. While Eastwood generally avoids public political squabbles, his deeply held conservative values and military background form a core part of his identity and often subtly influence his work. The friction between the two first surfaced in 2005, prior to any major direct conflict. Moore has claimed that Eastwood confronted him at an awards event and, in a chillingly direct manner, reportedly warned him against ever bringing his cameras to Eastwood's property. Moore described the exchange as a stark moment of intimidation, setting an uneasy precedent for any future interaction. The true clash came almost a decade later, in early 2015, with the release of Eastwood's highly successful film American Sniper. The biographical drama about Navy SEAL Chris Kyle was a commercial juggernaut, but also ignited a fierce cultural debate. It was seen by many as a powerful tribute to military service, while others criticized its perceived glorification of war and its portrayal of Iraqis. Moore weighed in as the film gained prominence. He made a comment via social media referencing his uncle, who he said was killed by a sniper in World War II, and stating that his family had been taught to view snipers as cowardly figures who shot people in the back. For Clint Eastwood, whose film was intended, at least in part, as a tribute to servicemen and the sacrifices made in the wake of 9/11, Moore's comments were reportedly a profound insult. Eastwood addressed the situation publicly months later at CinemaCon, an event for theater owners. With his characteristic dry delivery, he referenced Moore's earlier claim about a threat, stating it wasn't entirely accurate, but then added a comment that drew nervous laughter from the audience, suggesting the idea was not entirely without merit. Eastwood's response wasn't a social media battle or a series of public rebuttals. It was a chillingly casual public acknowledgement of the conflict, followed by a return to his preferred method of dealing with those who cross him: silence and professional distance. There have been no further public interactions or collaborations between the two. Michael Moore, the loud provocateur, reportedly found himself quietly but firmly outside of Clint Eastwood's professional orbit, a testament to the director's lasting influence and his unforgiving nature when his core principles are challenged. The third name is Spike Lee. Spike Lee is a celebrated director known for his distinct voice and his commitment to telling stories that center on African American life and history. His films are often politically charged and aim to provoke thought and discussion about race, identity, and social justice. He is an outspoken advocate for diversity in Hollywood and has often called out the industry for its historical lack of representation. The conflict with Eastwood arose in 2008, following the release of Eastwood's companion films about the Battle of Iwo Jima, Flags of Our Fathers, done in focusing on the American perspective and the iconic flag raising, and Letters from Iwo Jima, telling the Japanese side of the story. The films were critically praised for their humanistic portrayal of war, but Lee noted a significant absence in Flags of Our Fathers. Lee publicly pointed out that despite African Americans fighting and dying at Iwo Jima, there were no black soldiers featured in Eastwood's film about the American side of the battle. He highlighted that black Marines served in segregated units during the war and that their sacrifices were a part of the battle's history that should not be overlooked. Speaking at the Cannes Film Festival, Lee stated that many African American veterans were reportedly upset by this perceived omission, emphasizing that while it was Eastwood's creative choice, it was a notable and regrettable one. Eastwood defended his film by stating it was specifically about the men in the flag-raising photo who were not black, and that he was simply being historically accurate in depicting that particular group. He argued that he shouldn't have to invent representation for the sake of political correctness. The public exchange between the two directors quickly became a media talking point, sparking a wider discussion about the responsibility of filmmakers in portraying history and the ongoing struggle for accurate and inclusive representation in Hollywood. While some defended Eastwood's artistic license and focus on a specific event, others sided with Lee, arguing that omitting the context of black participation, however limited in that specific famous moment, perpetuated historical invisibility. The feud, though not prolonged with constant public attacks, created a deep and lasting divide between Eastwood and Lee. Neither has publicly reconciled or softened their stance. They have not worked together since, nor are they known to attend the same industry events. For Clint Eastwood, being publicly challenged on the historical integrity and racial representation of a project he deeply cared about, particularly by a filmmaker with a history of similar critiques, was evidently a boundary that resulted in a permanent professional separation. Their clash remains a prominent example of how differing perspectives on history, art, and social responsibility can create unbridgeable rifts between even the most respected figures in cinema. The fourth name is Leonardo DiCaprio. The collaboration between Clint Eastwood and Leonardo DiCaprio on the 2011 J. Edgar Hoover biopic was anticipated as a potential cinematic powerhouse pairing, bringing together a legendary director renowned for his efficiency with one of his generation's most celebrated actors, known for his deep, immersive method acting. However, their time working together on J. Edgar reportedly exposed a fundamental incompatibility in their creative processes, leading to a strained experience for DiCaprio and a quiet professional separation afterward. Leonardo DiCaprio has built his career on transformative performances, often achieved through meticulous research, extensive character preparation, and a willingness to explore various facets of a role across numerous takes. He thrives on collaboration and in-depth discussions about motivation and psychology, a style that benefited greatly from working with directors who embraced this approach. Clint Eastwood, conversely, operates with a different philosophy entirely. His directorial style is minimalist and famously fast. He values efficiency and instinct, often beginning a scene without a formal action call and preferring to capture the raw energy of early takes. His one-take reputation, while perhaps exaggerated, reflects a genuine preference for moving quickly and trusting actors to be prepared, rather than engaging in extensive rehearsal or multiple variations of a scene. The inherent tension between these two approaches reportedly became evident from the outset of filming J. Edgar. DiCaprio, deep in character preparation and accustomed to a more exploratory process, found himself challenged by Eastwood's rapid pace and lack of extensive discussion or multiple takes. He reportedly sought more time to delve into the complexities of J. Edgar Hoover's psyche, to try different emotional nuances, and to fully inhabit the character through repetition and variation, methods that were seemingly at odds with Eastwood's desire for speed and raw authenticity. Eastwood's response to DiCaprio's needs was reportedly consistent with his established nature: quiet, unwavering, and focused on maintaining his workflow. Requests for additional takes or deeper discussions about character were met with either polite refusal, a simple indication that he felt he already had what he needed, or a quiet directive to move on to the next setup. The experience reportedly left DiCaprio feeling creatively stifled and personally frustrated. While both men remained professional in public and offered polite remarks about each other during the film's promotion, their interactions often appeared stiff, lacking the warm camaraderie seen between Eastwood and other longtime collaborators. The outcome was a quiet, but significant, professional split. Despite the film's high profile and the strong performances from the cast, Eastwood and DiCaprio have not worked together since J. Edgar. Eastwood, known for frequently reusing actors he trusts and finds compatible with his streamlined methods, reportedly did not invite DiCaprio back for any subsequent projects. This situation offers valuable insight into Clint Eastwood's personality type as a director and his silent code. While not overtly confrontational, he is unyielding in his process. He expects actors to adapt to his style, and even an actor of DiCaprio's stature, if their fundamental approach clashes with his, will not be integrated into his recurring creative circle. The lack of a second collaboration, the quiet absence of DiCaprio from Eastwood's later films, speaks volumes about the director's emphasis on a particular kind of on-set harmony and efficiency, and the lasting consequences for those whose methods do not align with his own. The clash wasn't about personality conflict in the traditional sense. but a fundamental difference in how they believed a story should be told and a performance crafted. A difference that Eastwood ultimately deemed incompatible with his way of working. Among Clint Eastwood's storied career, his collaboration with Gene Hackman on the 1992 masterpiece Unforgiven stands as a pinnacle. The film not only revitalized the Western genre and swept the Oscars, but it also paired two of Hollywood's most formidable talents in roles that would define their later careers. On screen, their dynamic was explosive, a clash of ideologies and brutal realities. Off-screen, the energy was reportedly just as intense, though channeled into a different kind of tension, a silent, simmering conflict born from opposing personalities and working styles that ensured their partnership began and ended with this single, unforgettable film. Gene Hackman is an actor celebrated for his raw power, his meticulous approach to character, and his reputation for being demanding and sometimes challenging on set. He was known to question scripts and direction rigorously, pushing for authenticity and depth, even if it meant friction with the filmmaker. Clint Eastwood, by the time he directed Unforgiven, and was a seasoned filmmaker with a clear vision and a well-established method. He preferred a calm, efficient set, trusting his instincts, and expecting his cast and crew to work with discipline and respect for his vision. He avoided confrontation but demanded adherence to his plan. Unforgiven, a passion project Eastwood had nurtured for years, was a deconstruction of the very Western myths he had helped create. Casting Hackman as the cruel and complex Sheriff Little Bill Daggett was crucial to the film's success, creating a character who represented the brutal reality lurking beneath the heroic facade. Their on-screen dynamic was powerful and raw. Behind the camera, however, the energy between Eastwood and Hackman was reportedly fraught. Hackman, with his tendency to question and challenge, soon ran up against Eastwood's quiet but absolute authority. While Eastwood gave his actors room to find their performance within takes, he expected them to respect the script and the blocking. Hackman, however, was known to interrupt the flow, challenging lines, suggesting different ways of playing scenes, and pushing for changes. The tension, though kept from exploding into shouting matches typical of some film sets, was reportedly thick with unspoken friction. Hackman reportedly paused the tape, turned to Eastwood, and expressed that a particular line felt wrong and that he would not deliver it as written. This was a direct defiance of the script and the director's plan. Eastwood didn't engage in a debate. Instead, he reportedly fixed Hackman with a steely gaze and, in a low, firm tone that carried the weight of finality, simply stated his expectation that Hackman would indeed deliver the line. It was a quiet assertion of control that brooked no further argument. Hackman reportedly complied, delivering the line and the performance that would earn him an Academy Award. The film was a triumph, praised for its gritty realism and its powerful acting. Eastwood won Best Picture and Best Director, and Hackman took home the Supporting Actor trophy. They shared the stage and posed for photos, gold statuettes in hand, appearing as a successful, albeit perhaps unlikely, partnership. However, the professional relationship ended there. Despite the immense success of Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman never worked together again. Eastwood, who often brings back actors he trusts and respects into his productions, reportedly did not extend another invitation to Hackman. When discussing Unforgiven in later years, Eastwood would often speak warmly of the film itself and other cast members, but notable accounts mention that he rarely, if ever, included Hackman in those recollections. Industry insiders believe that while there was undeniable mutual respect for each other's talent, the clash of their personalities and working styles on set was simply too significant. Hackman's challenging, intense energy reportedly created a friction that Eastwood's preference for a smooth, disciplined environment could not easily absorb. For Eastwood, whose silent code values trust and seamless collaboration, the tension created by Hackman's approach, symbolized by that decisive moment on set, meant that despite the artistic triumph, the partnership was not one he wished to revisit. The powerful silence that followed Unforgiven for these two legends was a testament to a professional relationship that, despite reaching creative heights, could not endure the strain of their differing approaches. Clint Eastwood's influence on cinema is undeniable, a legacy built not just on the films he made, but on the way he made them and the principles he embodies. The stories of his strained relationships and feuds, particularly with figures like John Wayne, Michael Moore, Spike Lee, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Gene Hackman, reveal a consistent pattern. A man who operates by a strict internal code, one that prioritizes respect, discipline, artistic integrity. He is not a filmmaker known for public outbursts or tabloid dramas. Instead, his power lies in his quiet, unwavering resolve and his ability to make decisive cuts, both in the editing room and in his professional life. When individuals, regardless of their own fame or talent, are perceived to have crossed a line, whether through challenging his authority, disrespecting his values, or simply proving incompatible with his unique working style, the consequence is often a swift and permanent removal from his world. This is the essence of his silent code, in a form of professional unforgiving that is perhaps more chillingly effective than any public denunciation. In an industry often fueled by ego and fragile alliances, Eastwood's steadfast adherence to his principles has earned him both admiration and apprehension. Those who adapt to his methods and earn his trust become longtime collaborators. Those who don't, who challenge his quiet authority or clash with his rigid approach, find themselves outside his orbit, often with little explanation or fanfare. The question of, is Clint Eastwood a nice guy? It remains nuanced. By some accounts, he is supportive and loyal to those who understand and respect his process. By others, he is demanding, unyielding, and quick to move on from those who don't fit his mold. The stories of these five prominent figures illustrate the latter, showcasing moments where profound disagreements or differing working styles led to lasting professional rifts. These are not stories of petty squabbles, but of clashes rooted in deeply held beliefs about art, history, respect, and the very nature of filmmaking. They reveal the force of Clint Eastwood's personality type, a singular vision that has shaped his legendary career and left a trail of Unforgiven behind him, not with a bang, but with a chilling, permanent silence. Now, after hearing these accounts, what do you think? Was Clint Eastwood justified in his reactions and his approach to these conflicts? Or were some of these professional separations perhaps too harsh? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to uncover more stories from the archives of Hollywood, including insights into the legends Clint Eastwood admired and the dynamics that shaped his world, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Because when it comes to Clint Eastwood, the quiet can often be the most powerful statement of all.